All right, we're talking about how narcissists leverage certain types of behavior for ways that they want to get you to act, right? This is a big part of the grooming process that narcissists are well adept at, grooming individuals to behave a certain way while they're with them. Now, the way that they do it is they use their behavior to alter the way that you engage and interact with them. So, for example, when you're with someone, you expect them to, you would like to think that their behavior and how they're acting with you is genuine, them being caring, them being loving, concerned about you. You would like to think that from your significant other. The narcissist knows that as well. They know that, people want to feel loved and needed and all these other things. And so the narcissist uses that in a form of behavior to either take it away if they're giving it at first. This is where that pullback comes from. They'll take that, being loving and smothering, like a lot of them come off initially, and then they pull back, and then it's instantly noticed because the intensity and stuff that they started out with in the beginning falls off severely. A lot of the things that they were doing in the beginning completely disappears at a certain point. And it's by intent. It's intentional. They don't ever want to get you comfortable with a certain way of them being, because they need to be able to sway your feelings and emotions based off how they behave and act, right? They need to be able to sway that to their advantage. So a lot of times when they act out in public, they'll intentionally be disrespectful, or try to embarrass you or upset you. All these things, especially if they're not getting their way with something, they go to acting outlandish, unpredictable. All these things that throws you off from an emotional standpoint, which any normal person is not going to want to deal with that type of behavior, especially from someone they believe to be someone that, they're going to build something significant with. Now, when they start to do this, of course, you're not going to like it. You're going to speak on it. And they're not going to give you any, definitive answers to why they're doing it. They're going to just deflect, and project back onto you while still doing this behavior. It's to get you to break first and try to make them feel better, even though you may have not have done anything wrong. They just didn't like the way that the results came out from the interaction, right? So they may have been trying to get you to do a certain thing. You didn't. They started acting in a certain way, very passive aggressive. And they continue this behavior until it gets you to bend their way, right? It's where they start, silent treatments and, all these passive aggressive types of things. And if you see people doing this, it's all manipulation. And I don't want to make this a specific thing towards just narcissists, because a lot of people do passive aggressive types of behavior. Just in general, folks, there's a lot of manipulative people in the world. That doesn't necessarily have to be full-blown narcissists, but they do deploy these same types of tactics, right? And so they'll back out on you, or they'll deliberately, cancel on you, or some type of whatever you guys might have had appointment wise or whatever, right? They'll cancel. They won't stay consistent with you. This is so you can come up in your mind like, oh, I must have really did something wrong, because now things seem to be going downhill. And this is where a lot of you don't catch it, and you go into the bigger person mode, right? And this is the first flaw, the first mistake that you make when these things are starting to happen. You go into the bigger person mode. Okay, I'm gonna be the bigger person. Let me just fix this and apologize. Even though you didn't do anything wrong, you feel like the bigger person needs to step forth and do the right thing, clear this up so we can move on from it, right? And that is exactly what the narcissist wants you to do. They thrive on people being the bigger person, not stooping to their level, while they stoop lower and lower to get you to conform to what they're trying to do. Because they're gonna always go a little bit lower. Some severely low. They don't, there's no filter with them. So the moment you do this, the moment you give in, the moment you put yourself in position to give in, to try to make something right, even though you didn't do anything wrong, to start seeing it even from their angle, to start putting yourself in their shoes, empathizing with them, you've messed up. You messed up pretty bad. Because they're going to take that and they're going to see they're studying you, and now they've gotten to see where your threshold is. What will make you fold? What makes you crack? Okay, here's the breaking point where they give in. Now they know that. It's documented in their mind. They won't forget that. I see when I was doing this and withholding affection and all of this, they eventually cracked because they couldn't stand that disconnection. Right? They didn't like that abandonment feeling from what the narcissist was doing, feeling like you were going to lose that person and they were going to ride off into the sunset, right? They want you to feel unease dis-ease, at least, not where you're not content. You're on edge. You don't know what they're going to do next. They want to have you in that state of being and feeling. Works very well with them to get leverage over you so that they can turn the tables, if you will, and begin to now use the information that they have to further manipulate you down the line. Because now that you became the bigger person and gave in, what do? Right? Guess what they do? They get their way. And that's ultimately what they want. They want it their way. They got their way now. You gave in. They got you to bend. You weren't supposed to bend. You weren't even wrong. They were actually in the wrong, but yet got you the bend. That's showing on their end. I want you to see on their end how they see this. You're weak. You couldn't even stand up for what you knew to be right, and they were wrong, but they managed to convince you, to get you to bend, to break, to fold, and then you gave in to their demands, what they wanted. Once they find that threshold, this is where a lot of you, when you figure out like, wow, how did I mess up? How did I go wrong? If you think back, it was probably a situation, something like that, where they got you to bend, to break, even though you weren't wrong. They got you to give in. They got you to go into your bigger person role, your bigger person mode. And they used it against you. They was able from that point to see where you would crack, where you break at. And now moving forward, they deploy the same tactics, right? So they turn it up. Once you break, they come back. They'll be good for a little bit, right? They have to show you that what you did was right. This is all part of the game, the manipulation. Off of that, they have to show you, okay, you did a good thing because now I'm affectionate to you. And it turns on almost instantly. Now they come back being affectionate and just how they were before they pulled it away. Now they come back being affectionate. They come back being caring, attentive, all these things, and they really pour it on. Now it gives your mind psychologically confirmation that what you did was the right thing. To, even though you were not wrong, give in and things will get better, right? But they get their way. They now have leverage over you. They now have started the grooming, the first stages of grooming you to being subservient to them. Because now in their mind, they're laughing. They're like, okay, well, I got range now. I got a lot of things I can work with this person. Because I see their weakness. I see where they'll give up. And I know that one of the things where they give up is because they don't like the idea of me behaving in a certain way that is not giving them that comforting feeling of, you know, what they've been used to getting from the narcissist, right? The narcissists take that away. You don't like that. And now they know that that bothers you to such an extent that you will give in and even accept fault when it's not yours. That looks really bad. I don't think y'all really understand, if you're ones that have done this, how bad that looks and how much the narcissist salivates at that particular thought of like, wow, this is where they give in at. I'm about to have a field day with them because they're going to keep you in that way, because the next thing something else happens, they're going to go back into that same mode that triggered you before in that way to give in. And even though you know you're not wrong, you give in because you feel like, I don't want to deal with this foolishness. Let me just go do this and then it'll be back to normal. You're programming yourself time and time again when this happens to behave, to correct your behavior, to step down, to not defend yourself, right? To allow someone to manipulate you and get you to push your boundaries back and let them walk all over you, basically. Because the person who's manipulating you is making you feel like, no, everything is good. It'll just be fine. It's just that you're doing this that I don't like. And when I don't like things, I go to acting this way. And normally people who are normal people aren't going to go to acting the same way that they're acting when they don't get their way. Because again, you want to feel, I'm bigger than that. I'm more mature than that. I'm not going to do that. The correct response when you have someone that's doing that is to just let them go. Because you're never going to be able to stoop as low as them or to maintain something healthy with a person like that being a bigger person. You're not going to maintain it. You're not going to ever be able to bring that, because they're not going to bend. They already know where they stand. They're not going to bend at all. They're going to get you to play this game. They're going to get you to tap and dance around with what they want you to do for them. But they're never going to change their position, right? Even if you threaten to leave, they'll beg and all of this. It's to give you the idea, the mind that like, oh, they really do want me. You know, then why do they keep doing this if I keep wanting to leave them for it? Because you keep giving in. Because somewhere deep inside of you, you believe that there's something worth holding on to from them. And so you keep coming back. When you can turn your back and never look back from that, knowing if you see these signs, this person is no good. This person is manipulative, controlling, and trying to bend and alter your reality, you know, gaslighting, all these things. It's just a bad thing to engage in. So beware of those type of tactics and behaviors within people trying to get you to step in the role of being the bigger person, but never conforming themselves. You're going to be in a never-ending cycle of this same type of stuff. Anyway, hit the like, share, subscribe, book an appointment if you want. Just click the link in the description box if you want a one-on-one. And until next time, have a good one.